Hello guys, welcome back to our channel, our humble abode, PLTG Productions. Okay, so if you remember last Thursday we had our first basic Spanish tutorial. So we are going to continue today and we have a new lesson, so please stand by. Okay, so let's have first our pronunciation drill, okay? So let's welcome Mrs. L.
Hola, profe, buenas tardes.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias.
Ok, me alegro.
101 euros, cebolla, repollo, calle, hospital, hombre, perro, coche, señora, campaña, mamá, té, cita, 5, último, 32. Y quiero hacer también un shout out de Español Agilao. Muchas gracias amiga por tu ayuda y por empujarnos a seguir con nuestro blog, especialmente con nuestro tópico de aprender español. Gracias.
Alright, so we are going to review on our lessons on indefinite articles. So nouns using indefinite articles. So I will be saying these words in English and our student will say these words in Spanish. Okay, let's start. A boy.
Un chico.
A plant.
Una planta.
An apple.
Una manzana.
Alright, so let's also have some nouns using definite articles. So the article the, for example. Okay, the woman.
La mujer.
The man.
El hombre.
The house.
La casa.
Alright, so if we are going to form the plural of these nouns, for example, the women.
Las mujeres.
The men.
Los hombres.
And the houses.
Las casas.
Muy bien. Alright, so that ends our review on our past lesson. So we are going to proceed with our new lesson. Alright, so for tonight, we are going to discuss two lessons. Okay, the first one would be pronouns. Okay, so we are going to discuss first subject pronouns. So these are very important when we are speaking Spanish. We must know the pronouns that we are going to use when we are going to replace the nouns that we are referring to. So as we all know in English, pronouns are words that take the place of nouns. Okay, so how do we say these pronouns, subject pronouns in Spanish? Alright, so let's have our subject pronouns. Okay, first person singular, I.
Yo.
First person plural, we.
Nosotros.
Okay, and we consider also if our subject that we are referring to is masculine or feminine. Alright, so we.
Nosotros.
That is for masculine gender, and for feminine gender,
Nosotras.
Muy bien. Okay, let's proceed with subject pronoun, second person singular, you.
Tú.
Muy bien. Okay, what about second person plural, masculine?
Vosotros.
And feminine gender?
Vosotras.
Muy bien. Okay, so we have there two for singular, and then for plural, vosotros o vosotras. Okay, let's have third person, he or she, singular.
Él.
O
Ella.
muy bien, so he is él and she is ella. What about the plural form for third person, they?
Ellos.
That is for masculine gender, and for feminine gender?
Ellas.
Muy bien. Okay, so those are the subject pronouns in Spanish. Okay, another information. So in Spanish, to show our politeness or being respectful to the elderly, we also use another pronoun. Okay, so that is the second person. So instead of using the word tú, we use
Usted.
usted. Okay, so let's say for instance we are talking to an old man or old woman, so instead of using the word tú, we are going to use Usted.
Usted.
Alright, and we also have the plural form, and that is
Ustedes.
muy bien. Okay, so to show respect, we use usted in singular or ustedes in plural. Okay, so let's have now some exercises. Okay, so I'm going to say some sentences in English, and she will translate them in Spanish. Okay, first example, I speak Spanish.
Yo hablo castellano.
Alright, so she used there the pronoun, the subject pronoun yo to refer the pronoun I. Okay, the subject pronoun I. We speak Spanish.
Nosotros hablamos castellano. Nosotras hablamos castellano.
Muy bien. You speak English.
Tú hablas inglés.
Okay, what about if you are referring or if you are talking to an elderly, an old man or an old woman?
Usted habla inglés.
They speak English.
Ellos hablan castellano.
Okay, está muy bien, genial. The girl speaks German.
Ella habla alemán.
Muy bien. The girls speak German.
Ellas hablan alemán.
Muy bien. Está genial, fenomenal. Aplauso para ella. Alright, so let's recall our subject pronouns. I,
Yo,
we,
nosotros, nosotras.
muy bien. You,
Tú, usted,
and you, plural.
vosotros, vosotras, ustedes.
Muy bien. He or she,
Él, ella,
they.
ellos, ellas.
Muy bien. Alright guys, so let's see if you understood well on subject pronouns. Okay, so you answer the following questions or exercises correctly. Okay?
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think I'll have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so bright, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, gotta go.
Alright class, so let's proceed with our next lesson, demonstrative pronouns. In Spanish,
Pronombres demostrativos.
alright, so examples in English we have these and these, that, and those. Okay, what are the functions or the use of demonstrative pronouns? Okay, so these pronouns take the place of nouns and they agree in gender and number with the noun they replace or they substitute. So demonstrative pronouns, just like what I've told you, they should agree with the gender and number in Spanish. Okay, so we have singular, plural, and of course masculine and feminine. So we always take note of the gender and the number when we are going to use these demonstrative pronouns. And of course, don't forget the distance. Okay, so if it is very close to you, not so close, and very far away. So there are three categories for demonstrative pronouns in Spanish. Okay, so let's start. So let's take for instance, singular, and it is very close to you. What are you going to use? So in English, we have the demonstrative pronoun this, THIS. Okay?
En español, este para masculino y esta para femenino.
Muy bien. Okay, what about in plural form? So when you are demonstrating something and the number is plural, okay, so what are you going to use?
Masculino, estos, femenina, estas.
Alright, so that is these in English. So we have estos and estas. Alright, so let's proceed with demonstrative pronoun that. So we use that when the object or the thing that you are referring to is not so close to you. Okay, so singular in Spanish for that.
Ese para masculino y esa para femenino.
Muy bien, so ese, esa. Okay, what about in plural form for these?
Masculino, esos, y femenino, esas.
Muy bien. Okay, so let's proceed with when the noun being described or referred to is very far from you. So it's far away. Okay, so it's not so close. Okay, it's very, very far from you. So singular is that.
Masculino, aquel, y para femenino, aquella.
Muy bien, so aquel and aquella. Okay, what about if it is plural in form? So we have the demonstrative pronoun those.
Okay, masculino, aquellos, y femenino, aquellas.
Alright, so let's recall. Okay, singular, this.
Masculino, este, y femenino, esta.
Okay, plural, these.
Masculino, estos, femenino, estas.
We use that when the subject or the noun being referred to or being demonstrated is close to you or very close to you. What about if it is not so close? Singular, that.
Masculino, ese, y femenino, esa.
Alright, plural, those.
Masculino, esos, y femenino, esas.
Okay, when it's very far away from you. So singular, that.
Masculino, aquel, y femenino, aquella.
Okay, plural.
Masculino, aquellos, y femenino, aquellas.
Muy bien. Alright, so let's have some examples on demonstrative pronouns. Okay, so there are sentences in English and Mrs. L will be translating them in Spanish. Okay, next example. How much does this one cost?
¿Cuánto vale este?
Alright, so she used the pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, este. Maybe we are referring to a masculine subject. Okay, what about if the subject that we are referring to is feminine? Let's say for instance, apple.
¿Cuánto vale esta?
Alright, so we are going to use the demonstrative pronoun esta because we are referring to a feminine subject which is apple or manzana. Okay, another example. This cost 70 euros.
Este vale 70 euros.
Muy bien. Okay, so she used the pronoun este. Okay, maybe she is referring or we are referring to a masculine subject. Okay, what about if the subject is feminine? How are you going to translate that? This costs 70 euros.
Esta vale 70 euros.
Okay, so you see the difference. Okay, guys. So if you are referring to a masculine subject, singular in form, we are going to use este, right? Now, if you are referring to a feminine subject and it is singular in form and it is very close to you, so we have to consider the distance. So we are going to use esta. So always remember, okay, so there are so many things that we have to consider when we speak Spanish. The number and the gender. And of course, the distance if we are using demonstrative pronouns. Okay, another example. That one is much cheaper.
Aquel es más barato.
Okay, aquel es más barato. So maybe the object that we are referring to is very far away from you. Okay, so we are going to use aquel. Now, if it is not so far away, what are you going to use instead?
Eso.
Muy bien, so eso. Eso es más barato. Alright, so those are examples, okay, of sentences using demonstrative pronouns. So I hope you understood well, guys. Okay, so let's proceed with our next topic. But before we proceed, I just would like to point out something when we are going to write demonstrative pronouns. Now, when we are writing demonstrative pronoun, so for example, este or esta, we are going to put the stress or the accent on the first letter of the pronoun. So just like for example, este. So you are going to put the stress on letter E. Okay? The same follows with the other demonstrative pronouns. So take note of that. So este, esta, so letter E has stress. Or we call that in Spanish as
tilde.
Tilde, muy bien. Ese and esa, the stress is on the first syllable or on the first letter, letter E. Then what about for aquel or aquella? The stress is on the letter
E.
E. Okay, so the same is true with the plural form for estos, okay, estas. So the stress is on the first syllable, so on letter E. So you can see here below how we write correctly demonstrative pronouns. Alright, so we are going to proceed now with demonstrative adjectives. So they are almost the same, but we will find out later the difference, okay, in writing and the way we use these pronouns. Now we are going to discuss demonstrative adjectives. So in Spanish,
Adjetivos demostrativos.
alright, so demonstrative adjectives appear before the noun. So when we say adjective, they normally modify or describe a noun. Okay, so they are written, they are placed before the noun. Okay, so there must be a corresponding noun being described by this adjective. Okay?
Sí, profe.
So just like demonstrative pronouns that we previously discussed, these demonstrative adjectives or adjetivos demostrativos agree in number and gender with the noun they describe. Alright, so let's have examples. So they are almost the same, but they differ on the position and the way we write these pronouns. Okay, let's have some examples. Now, for singular, when the object is very close to you, what are you going to use?
Este, esta.
Vale, so we have the gender also. So este for masculine and esta for feminine. But here, we don't put the stress because it modifies or it describes a certain noun or subject. Okay, what about the plural form? When the subject or noun being described is very close, what are you going to use?
Estos y estas.
Muy bien. Okay, what about it's not so close to you? Singular in form?
Esa, ese y esa.
Okay, plural in form, not so close or not close to you?
Esos y esas.
And when it's very far away from you, singular in form?
Aquel, aquella.
And plural in form?
Aquellos y aquellas.
Okay, so you notice, guys, that they are almost the same for demonstrative pronouns and demonstrative adjectives. They differ in their function and the way we write them. Okay, so let's take some examples. The first sentence is, how much does this book cost? Okay, wait for a moment, Mrs. L. Okay, so this book, so this is the demonstrative adjective and it describes the word or the noun book. So this book, how do you translate that in Spanish?
¿Cuánto vale este libro?
Okay, este libro. So este here is the demonstrative adjective because it describes the noun book. Okay, este libro. So libro is the noun and este is the demonstrative adjective. Okay, but if we are going to write that, we don't put the stress. Okay, there's no accent, there is no tilde in Espanol. Okay, next, that book cost 60 euros. That book, so that is the demonstrative adjective and book is the noun being described. How do you translate that?
Ese libro vale o cuesta 60 euros.
Muy bien. So, ese libro cuesta 60 euros. So, ese libro. Let's have the last sentence. Okay, that book is much cheaper.
Aquel libro es más barato.
Alright, so that book, and then in Spanish is aquel libro. So aquel is the demonstrative adjective and it describes the noun book. Alright, so those are demonstrative adjectives. So I hope you understood well how to use these adjectives, demonstrative adjectives correctly, okay?
Esta plata. Estas plantas. Este banco. Ese banco. Aquel banco. Este árbol. Ese árbol. Aquellos árboles. Este coche. Estos coches. Esta moto. Aquellos coches. Ese bici. Este bici. Estas flores. Estas flores. Estas flores. Esta puerta.
Entonces ya está para los 3 temas para hoy. So, hoy hemos aprendido 3 temas.
Primero, pronombres personales. Segundo, pronombres demostrativos. Y tercero, adjetivos demostrativos.
Muy bien. Ok, so hemos terminado. Esperamos que habéis aprendido mucho de los temas para hoy. Entonces, hasta la próxima.
Muchas gracias.
Adiós. Chao.